Hey Vlad, how you doing? Nice to see you. You're looking very menacing in your sort of dark shoot studio, but we're here looking at the Flux, right, which is a sort of monolithic, new concept electronic instrument that you are so famous for producing, right?
Yes, right. And I look so black and minimalistic because Flux is a kind of contemporary classic instrument, I hope. So that is why this look.
So before we start, maybe just give us a short playing example, so then we got some context as to what we're dealing with here. That would be great.
Okay.
Wow, okay, that's a massive tonal range. So I could tell it's again, this is a very expressive instrument. It's based on what looks like, is it touch or is it just proximity?
So actually, this is a contactless instrument. So I can play the whole concert without any touching of the surface. This is the main idea of Flux. It's inspired a lot by Theremin, and for me, it's still maybe the biggest icon in synthesizers world. And here, in compare with Theremin, I can control up to 16 different parameters without touching any surface, just by movement of my hands.
So I know you've got some kind of devices in your hands. Are they kind of magnets or metal or something that then is being tracked by Flux? Is that kind of roughly what's going on?
Yeah, so this is like I call it magnetic bows. So here it's a simple neodymium magnets inside, and the interface is a multidimensional sensor that defines coordinates of these bows, as well as it tracks what angle it has and what polarity it has. So this is like very it gives much bigger possibilities and compare with capacitive principle of Theremin work, because it can define just only proximity to the antennas. But here it also captures angle and polarity. So I have additional dimensions and additional possibilities to control by hand gestures, let's say.
Wow. Okay. So I imagine there's to support that. There's got to be quite a complex synth engine. I mean, I noticed there are similarities with Terra, just because you're using those same kind of like brass button sensors. Are they? Is there much similarity or overlap with the Terra engine?
So actually, generally no. Generally not, because a very different interface, very different approach. But of course, I used the best achievements in Terra synthesis, and of course, it is like a long step-by-step development of my personal approach to digital synthesis, because Terra and Flux completely digital synthesizers, and there is like my personal findings how to make sound that I like. But sensors, it's just like historically, Terra from the very beginning, from Lyra 8, works with sensors, and I found it very reliable. I like sensors because it's impossible to break in compare with buttons. That, you know, good button costs a lot, and not good button will break after some years. So that is why sensors. I really like it. And also very nice look.
Excellent. So is it the same kind of concept in terms of, so you have different sort of synthesis algorithms for the voicings, or is it just one algorithm that you affect with the sensors that you know, the magnet positional magnets?
No, so here we have 37 different algorithms in Flux, and I used this principle because, first of all, this is very minimalistic interface. So you see, we have here just 8 sensors to control the whole synthesizer and all its engine possibilities. So also it has no any computer editor, and it built in this way that each engine is a complete instrument, so
Right.
complete performance instrument, and that is why I can't make just one engine, because otherwise I will need to build very complex interface for adjustment all synthesis parameters. And honestly, in my way how I build synthesizers, I go too deep in each sound and I control so many small things. So even like a simple low pass filter, for me it's not just 2 parameters like frequency and resonance. So
Right.
I also affect such small things like distortion after filter, distortion inside filter feedback, and small like slight detuning between high pass and low pass. So it actually like very subtle sound designing. That is
Right.
why I still don't understand how I can build just like, let's say, normal synthesizer interface when I give to user all parameters to control. It will be like
Right.
500 parameters.
So, I mean, just to be clear, that its similarities with Terra are purely in the fact that there are algorithmic synth engines, which are presumably in DSP or digital, that you then control via the control surface you have with Flux, right? That's the sort of the basic explanation.
So this is similar principles like with Terra, but different structure of algorithms and its control. And also here we have several absolutely unique, even for Soma algorithms. For example, I experiment last year a lot with by-bit principle of sound synthesis. For sure, you know, and the audience know this quite revolutionary approach. And here I have several algorithms built based on byte-bit synthesis.
Right. Okay. So just take me through kind of how the pitch and the dynamics work across, because you've obviously got quite a surface here. How does that kind of part work?
So let's start with the right hand. So this movement defines pitch. Oh, sorry, defines velocity. And this movement defines pitch. So I packed the whole Theremin just in one hand.
Yeah, that's pretty much Theremin kind of, and you've gone for a similar voicing to show that. So those markings on the keyboard, are they traditional sort of Western, I suppose, scales, or would you tune, like with the Terra, you tune them however you want them?
No, here we have a stable keyboard, so these marks are like standard chromatic marking, like on grand piano. So this is Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do, and this is like flats.
Right. Okay.
So in compare with Terra, this is much easier to make like stable connection of your mind and the keyboard, because the keyboard is stable and Do is always Do.
Right. So yeah, that makes it a lot easier. So every time you come to it, you'll be playing the notes you expect to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So also, but it is not the end of possibilities in the this right hand. So if you flip the hand, you switch octaves.
And is that you're flipping? So you're flipping the polarity of the magnet. Right. Okay, I understand.
So, and of course you can transpose the keyboard and transpose on what interval you flip, shift the keyboard when you flipping, why you flipping the bow. So, and in this way you can have up to 6 continuous octaves. It is very important in my opinion, especially in classical performance. So this is actually almost range of grand piano. If you need, you can even make it bigger using this flipping possibility, but then you will have like a gap, because we have here 3 octaves, and you can transpose this by flipping as much as you want. But it's also not the end. So also it recognizes the tilt. You hear it in this algorithm, it turns a noisy sound.
Yeah.
And if I will tilt in the left side, this is another type of noisy sound.
Interesting.
So I can control only by right hand, volume, pitch, octave flip, and 2 tilts, 2 different tilts, different modulations. So 5 parameters just by movement of one right hand.
Wow.
And then it comes to work the left hand, where we have 6 independent two poles sensors. So this is a 3-dimensional structure which can be organized in different ways. For example, I can use the whole left bow. I call it timbre bow. So this is like pitch, velocity pitch bow, and this is like timbre bow.
Yeah.
So with timbre bow, I can organize the sensor like XYZ space, or can divide it up to 6 independent poles, where flipping the bow also have sense. So I can show some examples after this explanation. And I can control here up to 12 different parameters, also without touching any surface. For example, in this algorithm, if I move like normal bow, I will have different timbres of, let's say, voice. And if I flip in the bow, I will go to, like, let's say, extreme settings of synthesis. Like extreme sounds.
Yeah, that looks like it's a very powerful set of timbral change. So just to be clear on this, is this a monophonic instrument, or is it possible to play with both hands over the keyboard if that's what you choose as well?
It's possible, and I will show it right now. So first of all, let's even start with a more simple possibility. First of all, it's a very nice duophonic instrument. So also when I play this duophonic mode, it recognizes both flip. That is why I can play really big intervals here.
Right, okay. And is there pitch quantization, or are those markings kind of fixed pitches, or are you've learned how to hit the right points to get the pitch out of it? Is it how hard is it to be in tune, I suppose, is the question.
So this is 2 possibilities. Now I used not non-quantized keyboards, so it's just by ear. But also I have a quantizing function. I can switch it right now. So now it has standard semitone quantization, and I can adjust the level of quantizing. So I can left some possibilities to make slight vibrator.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely up to artist control, from 0 quantization to full quantization. And speaking about polyphonic possibility, there also we have possibility to play true polyphonic, but not simultaneously, but one by one, like this, for example.
Right, so with having longer release, yeah.
Yes, using long release. If I make this release really long, so I can even play like a kind of drone composition.
Interesting. So, I mean, the sounds that you're making, I mean, they're quite sort of non-mainstream. And where do you see, you know, how are people currently using it? I mean, do you think it's more of a sort of solo instrument? I could see it being very useful for, like Terra is, for sort of sound design and music to picture and media composition, that sort of thing, where gesture. You can translate gesture from what you're seeing visually. How do you see it being? Where does it sort of sit creatively?
So actually, the palette of sound is really big. I play the sounds that I maybe like, understand, or can deal with the most. That is why it sound maybe like in my style, like you say, it's not mainstreamish. But the range is very big for Flux. From basses, it's a very nice bass instrument, especially if you need floating basses like in current modern hip hop or something like this. It is very heavy, deep basses. So when I worked on analog part and digital part, I paid a lot of attention for good basses up to infrasound.
Right.
So and finishing with classical tunes actually, and many things in between. So yes, I really don't like to reproduce sounds and instruments that already exist on the market in big quantity, like make one more mini MOOC or something like this. So that is why the sounds quite unique. But I think, like even with such instruments like lyra, it will find good place even in mainstream pop production, especially cinematography, soundtracks. But also I think it pop songs. So if you need really flexible control over sound, especially in like combination pitch, timbre, in one set of performance, then Flux is, I think, exactly what you need.
And it's a self-contained in the same way that lyra and Terra are self-contained. It's you know, you're not trying to it doesn't communicate with the outside world in that it won't control something else and something else doesn't need to control it, because I guess the resolution of all of that information is way too high to be used outside of itself, right?
Yes, so there is no possibility to control Flux by something external, but we did a possibility to control something external by Flux. So it will have a separate breakout box. Users have to buy it separately because it's separate, quite a complex device, and it has MIDI output with MPE possibilities, and it has a full set of CV outputs for each parameters that we have on Flux.
Oh,
so
nice.
yes, so like possibility even play duophonic like I did, and possibility to have separately all 6 sensors like here, with two polar, bipolar CV outputs. So Eurorec and all such things are very welcome if you need.
So You mentioned that it was really nice with sort of bass sounds. I don't suppose you could just dial one up just so we can have a listen to that as well, because I'd be really interested to hear. Because I know Terra had some amazing low end algorithms in there, some really and quite traditional synthesis sounding, at least in parts. I'd be curious.
For example, like this.
Okay, that was my next question, which was, can you do percussive sort of front ends? And you're just demonstrating exactly that. I noticed that I can't quite make it out here, but there's a sort of matrix of LEDs there. Is that the sort of indicator that shows you what you're doing, how you're operating, and what each control is giving you access to, like memories and algorithms and whatnot, right?
Yes, so maybe as you noticed, I don't like traditional displays. So because for me, synthesizer is not a computer, and that is why I used, let's say, not display, but rather indicator. So here we have 8-on-8 LED matrix, and I was able to put all information I need on this LED matrix, including adjusting all parameters and including all switchings that I use using sensors. For example, here I adjust volume, so output volume, and you see I use this big Flux keyboard like huge slider.
Right,
It's
that's
very
a good idea.
very comfortable. So huge slider, and you can just press like point what you need, or do like this and see what's going on the display, and adjust necessary parameters. So using this combination, or for example here I adjust release, general release. So this combination of Flux keyboard like a huge slider plus magnets plus display, and I am able to control everything I need using this super incredibly simple interface and avoiding, let's say, normal display with a lot of information.
And does that apply to synthesis parameters within the algorithms as well? Because I mean that's sometimes complicated to sort of translate one paradigm into another when you're thinking about, I don't know, filter or feedback in an FM algorithm or whichever it may be. I mean, do you have access to that level of parameter control, or is it more designed into each algorithm instrument?
So I put as much as possible controls to the left timbre arm. So for example here, in this algorithm, I have like filter. If I flip, it becomes band pass filter. So Z-axis defines resonance. And if I move up, I control detuning of, so it's like a pack of sawtooth waves. And I control like detuning of these sawtooth oscillators. And also using this proximity like Z parameter, I control also shifting from triangle to sawtooth wave.
Right.
So in each algorithm, I packed as much as possible parameters to movement of timbre bow. So the core idea of Flux of Terra, let's stop programming timbres, let's play timbres.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And,
it's a very similar approach to Osmos as well, where each patch is kind of an instrument that you have to learn how to perform with, which is kind of a similar approach to what's going on here. Is there is that made of wood? Can I see a grain in that? Is it a wooden instrument?
Yes, because it's magnetic, I need completely neutral to
Yes.
magnetic fields materials. That is why it's made from wood.
Right. And does it matter which magnet you have in which hand?
No,
Is
that's
so okay?
absolutely similar.
That right. Okay, that's good. And also, I notice because there's a tilt. If you have a slight bias with your hand, I'm watching your hands, and there's sometimes your hand is ever so slightly kind of like this. How sensitive is that flip? Does it have to be 90 degrees, or is it degree? Is it based on the number of degrees of tilt there is in the magnet?
So, of course, it has some reasonable threshold. So, if you do it like slightly, nothing happen. You need to flip it significantly.
Right. Okay. That's going to make it a little easier for people to control.
So it's a little bit to previous question how I move from like continuous performance to percussive like performance. So Flux for this purpose have a special mode where I have like invisible threshold line here and I can move it up and down, and when I cross this invisible line it produces like
A trigger.
percussive sound, and I can, yes, so it capture velocity. And also I can adjust release in this mode, different types of release, like release for general volume, for timbral parts. So it's also very interesting percussive instrument actually.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
That is,
And I mean the format that it's in now. I mean, it's quite a large instrument. Have you got plans to maybe make kind of a shorter version so that there's you have less octaves, or is it important to have full range of the pitch?
at the moment we have just this size. So it's aimed like for high professional performers and performances. That is why we didn't think it's reasonable to make like shorter version. But who knows? Maybe in the future we will make it. Hacking did like short version
That's
of
true. Yeah.
Continuum fingerboard. But at the moment, at least on the start, we released the full version with maximum possibilities.
And this is available now. People can order. Is it pre-order, or are you building to order, or have you got production going? Where are we with that?
So we hope to start release the first units in a month like this. It will be like beta units that we will deliver to our friends, musicians who will make like beta testing and the very first reviews maybe.
Yeah.
And we hope to start mass sales in the very beginning of this fall.
And what sort of what area of price are you looking to get to? I mean, it looks like a classy piece of equipment. I'm not expecting it to be, extremely affordable. But I mean, given the technology that's in it and the craftsmanship that looks like goes into it, what sort of price are you aiming to hit?
We hope that we will have price around 1,000 euros. This is net price without VAT and delivery.
Oh wow, that's
But
way less than I thought. Okay, right.
But so please, it is not promise because first of all we need to make at least the first pilot batch and see real price of production, because there is a lot of craftsmanship, starting from enclosure, finishing from adjustment of all 50 magnetic sensors here.
Yeah.
So, and all it requires handwork. So we don't use machine assembling. We still devoted to old style.
Right.
Let's say
handmade, yeah.
golden age of audio equipment with THT components and manual adjustments.
And
Of
is
everything.
it available in other kind of wood finishes? I mean, if black, you've got black here. I mean, I remember because Terra had different options of different kinds of wood. Each one was sort of unique. Are there options to have in other colours, or is it just black for now?
I think we will move slightly to color options, maybe more expensive, but with natural wood visible under the lacquer
Yeah.
and this finishing. But we start with this super strict classical view. So maybe you noticed there is no even Soma label and instrument name on the body.
Yeah.
So it is on the bottom. So because it's aimed for classical performance, there is no inscription violin on violin. So
Stradivarius. Yeah. Mind
yes,
you,
so even
if you did, you'd probably sell more. Imagine if you have your Stradivarius, that'd be like, wow, that's pretty. That's top draw. Yeah.
but I hope it is very well recognizable even without marks. So
Yeah.
that is why we made a decision. The better we will keep the maximum this minimalistic approach, that even our label and instrument name we hide from audience. Yes, yes. So actually, some brief specifications for this instrument, maybe it will be useful. So the range for keyboard is 10 octaves. If I use all possibilities, octave change up to 10 octaves. 37 algorithms up to 17 parameters to control without touching keyboard, any surface. And each algorithm also have variations, up to 8 variations. It's like a way to control different parameters without extended display. And also there is built-in FX processor. So all effects that you hear in this demo, this is built-in FX section. And we have delay and reverb inside. So also very simple, but enough for basic spatial processing, especially for live performances.
Thank you very much, Vlad. I'm so glad that this and all your other instruments exist in the world. I think without it, it would be a much duller place. And I wish you all the best with this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your interest to Soma instruments from the very, very beginning of our company.